Welcome, history enthusiasts. Today, we delve into the cataclysm that reshaped the 20th century, World War II. From the aggressive expansion that lit the fuse to the devastating forces that brought it to an end, we're going to explore the critical moments that defined the deadliest conflict in human history. The roots of the Second World War stretched deep into the bitter aftermath of the First. Humiliated by the punitive terms of the Treaty of Versailles and ravaged by economic depression, Germany became fertile ground for extremist ideologies. It was from this turmoil that Adolf Hitler and his Nazi Party rose, promising a return to national glory and a dismantling of the old world order. Their ascent unleashed a period of rapid rearmament and aggressive expansion, meticulously testing the will of a Europe still reeling from the previous global conflict and desperate to avoid another. The international community, blinded by a desire for peace and underestimating Hitler's true ambitions, largely chose a path of appeasement. Hitler's first audacious move came in March 1936 with the remilitarization of the Rhineland. This strategic industrial region, bordering France, had been strictly demilitarized by the Treaty of Versailles. Despite this clear violation and an opportunity for decisive action, neither France nor Britain intervened. Their inaction signaled a dangerous precedent, a willingness to concede in the face of German aggression, driven by a profound war weariness and the internal economic struggles of the Great Depression. This crucial moment revealed the inherent weakness of the collective security system, leaving the door open for further Nazi expansion. The policy of appeasement reached its zenith and ultimate failure with the Munich Agreement of September 1938. Here, Britain's Prime Minister, Neville Chamberlain, and France's Édouard Daladier, alongside Benito Mussolini, effectively sacrificed Czechoslovakia's Sudetenland region to Hitler. They genuinely believed that by conceding this German-speaking border territory, they were sating Hitler's territorial ambitions and securing peace for our time. It was a monumental miscalculation, born of desperation and a profound misunderstanding of Hitler's true, far more expansive agenda. History would swiftly prove just how tragically wrong that assessment was. Far from being satisfied, Hitler's ambitions only grew. Having observed the West's reluctance to intervene, he orchestrated a cynical but strategic maneuver, the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact in August 1939. This non-aggression treaty with the Soviet Union, ostensibly about peace, contained secret protocols for the division of Poland and other Eastern European territories. With his eastern flank secured, Hitler swiftly turned his aggressive gaze toward Poland, accusing it of persecuting ethnic Germans and demanding territorial concessions. At precisely 4:45 a.m. on September 1, 1939, the German Wehrmacht unleashed its full might. The invasion of Poland was executed with brutal efficiency, demonstrating a new form of warfare, the Blitzkrieg, or lightning war. This tactic combined overwhelming air power from the Luftwaffe with rapid, synchronized advances of armored divisions, panzers, bypassing static defenses and sowing chaos behind enemy lines. Polish forces, despite their courage, were swiftly overwhelmed by this mechanized onslaught. The invasion of Poland shattered the illusion of appeasement. Britain and France had given their word to Poland, and this time they could not look away. On September 3rd, honoring their commitment, they issued ultimatums to Berlin. With no German withdrawal, both nations declared war. The agonizing reality settled in. The world was once again plunged into a global conflict. World War II had officially begun. While the early stages of the war primarily engulfed Europe, with Germany conquering much of Western Europe, and launching a devastating invasion of the Soviet Union in June 1941, its scope soon expanded. The Empire of Japan, pursuing its own aggressive expansionist agenda in Asia and the Pacific, viewed the United States as a formidable obstacle. Believing that a swift, decisive blow could cripple the American fleet and buy time for their conquests, Imperial Japan launched an audacious and devastating surprise attack on the U.S. naval base at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, on December 7, 1941. Waves of Japanese carrier-borne aircraft inflicted catastrophic damage on American battleships and airfields. The attack on Pearl Harbor, a date forever etched in American memory as a date which will live in infamy, ignited a surge of national outrage and unified a previously isolationist nation. It drew the United States, a sleeping industrial and military giant, irrevocably and wholeheartedly into the global conflict, transforming the European war into a truly global conflagration spanning multiple continents and oceans. The years 1942 and 1943 marked a crucial turning point. On the Eastern Front, the brutal attritional Battle of Stalingrad from August 1942 to February 1943 became a symbol of Soviet defiance and sacrifice. Despite staggering casualties, the Red Army encircled and utterly destroyed Germany's Sixth Army, marking the psychological and strategic high-water mark of the German invasion of the Soviet Union. From that point, the Soviets began their relentless and costly push westward, driving the German war machine back. In North Africa, British and Commonwealth forces under commanders like Montgomery achieved decisive victories at battles such as El Alamein in late 1942, halting the Axis advance towards the Suez Canal and paving the way for the Allied invasion of North Africa. Simultaneously, in the vast expanse of the Pacific, the United States Navy delivered a crushing blow to Japan at the Battle of Midway in June 1942. This pivotal naval engagement destroyed 4 Japanese aircraft carriers, decisively turning the tide of the naval war in the Pacific and shifting the strategic initiative to the Allies. With the tide slowly turning, the Allies planned their most ambitious undertaking yet. On June 6, 1944, D-Day unfolded across the beaches of Normandy, France. This was the largest amphibious invasion in history, involving hundreds of thousands of Allied troops, American, British, Canadian, and others, transported across the English Channel. Under intense German fire and facing formidable fortifications, these brave soldiers stormed the beaches, fighting for every inch of ground. This monumental operation successfully opened a crucial second front in Western Europe, forcing Germany to fight a two-front war once again, and signaling the beginning of the liberation of France from 4 years of Nazi occupation. As 1945 dawned, the end of the war in Europe was in sight, but the fighting remained ferocious. The Western Allies pushed relentlessly eastward from France, while the Soviet Red Army, having driven the Germans from Soviet soil, advanced inexorably westward towards Germany itself. Berlin became the ultimate prize. The final, brutal Battle of Berlin in April 1945 saw house-to-house, street-by-street combat as Soviet forces encircled and then stormed the German capital. With his thousand-year Reich crumbling around him and the Red Army closing in on his underground bunker, Adolf Hitler committed suicide on April 30, 1945. His death stripped the Nazi regime of its figurehead and hastened its inevitable collapse. Just over a week later, on May 8, 1945, Germany formally surrendered unconditionally to the Allied powers. Across Europe and the Allied nations, joyous celebrations erupted. Victory in Europe, VE Day, was declared. The long, brutal war in the West had finally come to an end. Yet, the war in the Pacific raged on with undiminished ferocity. Despite overwhelming Allied superiority and the utter collapse of its European ally, Imperial Japan refused to surrender. Its military doctrine of Bushido emphasized fighting to the last man, leading to horrific casualties in island-hopping campaigns like Iwo Jima and Okinawa. The Allies braced for a cataclysmic, full-scale invasion of Japan's home islands, an operation projected to cost millions of lives on both sides. Faced with this grim prospect and aware of a revolutionary new weapon, President Harry S. Truman made one of the most agonizing decisions in history. He authorized the use of the atomic bomb, believing it would force Japan's unconditional surrender and prevent a far more costly land invasion. On August 6, 1945, the first atomic bomb, codenamed Little Boy, was dropped on the city of Hiroshima. 3 days later, on August 9th, a second, Fat Man, devastated Nagasaki. The unprecedented power and destruction unleashed by these weapons, coupled with the Soviet Union's declaration of war on Japan on August 8 and subsequent invasion of Manchuria, finally broke the Japanese resolve. Faced with such unimaginable destruction and the complete collapse of their position, Emperor Hirohito intervened, and on August 15, 1945, Japan finally surrendered. This day, celebrated as VJ Day, Victory over Japan, marked the official conclusive end of World War II, bringing to a close nearly 6 years of global conflict. The sheer scale of World War II's devastation is almost incomprehensible. An estimated 70 to 85 million lives were lost, both military and civilian, making it the deadliest conflict in human history. Vast swathes of Europe and Asia were reduced to rubble, and the true, unfathomable horrors of the Holocaust, the systematic genocide of 6 million Jews and millions of others, were fully revealed to the world. But from the ashes of this destruction, a new international order began to emerge. The United Nations was founded in 1945, dedicated to fostering international cooperation and preventing such a global catastrophe from ever happening again. The war had ended, but its profound economic, political, and social scars would forever remain etched on the face of humanity, shaping the latter half of the 20th century and beyond. World War II was a turning point for humanity, a stark reminder of both the depths of human cruelty and the heights of resilience. Understanding its causes and consequences is vital to comprehending our modern world. If you found this journey through history insightful, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the past.